boys and girls, I'm Miss Lisa for the Fayette County Public Library, and today I am out and about. Today I am in an elementary classroom with Miss Carrie Faw. She is an RN, a registered nurse, and she works in hospitals, but she also educates children about first aid. And so today she's going to talk to us about some just general first aid items. So, Miss Carrie, what are we going to talk about first? What about burns? A lot of kids have burns either in the house or outside, so can you tell us a little bit about burns?
Yeah, so we have burns of different stages. We have stage 1, which is just that first outer layer of your skin. Stage 2 is the first 2 layers, and then stage 3 would be where you're having some muscles and tissues showing, and that's very severe, and you need to get medical attention for that.
Okay. So how do kids usually get a burn?
You can get it from touching a hot oven, or this time of year you have bonfires and kids that like fireworks and things like that. You can get burns from that. If you're taking something out of the oven and you touch the inside of the oven or the stove, those are all hot. Most kids of younger ages like to take baths and they turn the water on themselves, and sometimes the water is too hot for them. We don't like any water over 98.6 degrees for little kids. So you can get little burns from that as well.
Okay.
And then the sun is the big thing.
And the sun, yeah, so then we're coming into summer, so the sun is going to be a big thing. So if you do get a burn on your skin, how do you treat it?
So first stage, just that outer layer, you got some redness, you got some burn. We're going to try to cool that down by just some cool water.
Okay.
You just run it under some cool water until that pain goes away. If it's a sunburn, obviously you can use this aloe vera.
Cool.
Again, you just open the plant up and then you just rub little juices on there on your sunburn. That takes that away. If it's from just barely touching the fire or the stove and you get a little burn that just causes some redness, you're just going to keep it cool, run it under that cold water until that pain goes away. You can put some non-stick gauze pads, which I don't have any non-stick here, but just cover it up and then wait on it to heal.
So when do you need to go to the hospital for the burn?
If it's got a blister that's got some pus coming out of it or fluid leaking out of it, the pain's getting worse, the redness is getting worse, signs of infection, you're obviously going to go to the hospital and get that treated.
So with summer coming up, sometimes we are outside all day long and it's so much fun, and we maybe don't drink enough and we get outside and we get overheated, or sometimes some people even faint and have a heat stroke, right? So if they faint and they're on the ground, Carrie, what do we do to someone that's on the ground?
Okay, you're just going to have them remain calm and just keep an eye on their breathing. You're going to have them elevate their legs.
Okay.
You can have someone help support. Keep that above heart. You can give them some water to drink or some Gatorade to drink, just to rehydrate them, because what's happening is they've got overheated and they needed to drink some more fluids to help them out. And then once they start feeling better and they're not, you put some cool cloths here on their neck or on their forehead and their armpits here to help cool them down.
Oh, cool. Okay. And so after a few minutes and they're feeling better, it's
Better,
okay
they're
to
not faint.
get up.
Just get them back up and then just make sure you're encouraging them to keep some drinking.
Okay, how much water should we drink a day, especially in the summer?
Well, it's half of your body weight, so it depends on how much you
body
weigh.
weight. Wow.
So if you are, 180 pounds, you should be drinking at least 90 ounces of fluid a day.
90 ounces, wow. That's a lot of water. Boys and girls, drink your water. It must be very important for us. So another thing that happens in the summer is when we're out and about playing in the yards and stuff, and maybe in the woods, what if we run across poison ivy? What do we do now?
Yep, you're just going to take off the clothing or your shoes that were touching the poison ivy. You're going to go wash with soap and water. We don't want to use hot water because that's just going to spread that even more. So you use cool water and get it off really good. And then you can use over-the-counter ointments, or they have some soaps too that you can use that remove that poison ivy sap.
Cool. So is there any difference between, isn't there like poison ivy, poison sumac,
yeah.
poison oak? Is there any difference in the treatment of
The
those?
treatment's going to be the same. You obviously want to wash the area really good, avoid that hot water. And then if you have blisters, you'll have changing of skin color. Obviously, once it gets to that point and starts spreading more, you're going to go to your doctor, and you might need, like me, I've had to have a couple steroid shots, some antibiotics, and things to help you get you back to one color.
Yeah, good. That's important. All right. Another thing that kids often run into are like nosebleeds. So how do we treat a nosebleed?
My son gets these all the time, so you'll just sit down.
Okay.
You will have them hold a tissue, usually on the bridge of your nose right here, and you're going to squeeze this little area right here.
Okay.
You're going to lean slightly forward, and then you're just going to hold pressure to that until our blood clots.
Okay.
And usually that can take a few minutes. My sons have to do it 10 to 15 minutes sometimes. Just hold pressure on your nose right there. Have them breathe through their mouth. You don't want them to talk, cough, or anything like that. Try not to swallow as much as you can until that blood clots. Obviously, if it's prolonging and you're still having a lot of bleeding, you're going to go to your doctor because maybe something else is wrong and not just a minor nosebleed.
So I always thought you had to do backwards. What's wrong with that?
No, because then it just goes all down your throat and you're swallowing it. So they just want you to raise a little slightly forward and hold pressure until that.
Okay, so it's not like we have
Not
to do
all the
this.
way. Nope, just slightly forward.
Just slightly forward.
Hold pressure on that bridge of your nose right there until the bleeding
And
stops.
the bleeding stops. Okay.
Yep.
Very good.
Unless something's majorly wrong, that usually takes care of it.
Another thing I was thinking about is a lot of kids are out in the summer and they're running and they're playing and they maybe trip over a log and they fall and then they come, Mommy, my arm hurts. So what happens if they have hurt their arm or leg and it's just sprained, it's not broken? What do we do now?
It's just rest, elevation, compression, and ice for anything that is just like a little trauma to your arm. We can wrap it.
Okay.
Got
So-
this ACE bandage right here.
Okay.
Comes with these little clips. Biggest thing, like I said, is just remembering the acronym RICE. You're just going to rest it. You're going to ice it.
Okay.
You're going to compress it because you can get some swelling.
And then the E.
You don't want it too tight. And
Okay.
then just elevation. You're going to keep
Elevation.
it usually above heart level.
Okay.
You don't want this too tight, but enough to not let it. These clips, somebody's been playing with these.
Yeah, the little teeth don't grip real well. Okay, so boys and girls, did you remember that? RICE. R-I-C-E. Let's see if I remember. R is rest. I is ice. C was compress, which what does compress mean?
Just a tight compression, so it's just keeping it from being able to swell up anymore.
Okay,
than
so
your
making it
original
sort of
size.
tight
Yep,
and
Tight
immovable.
but not too tight. You don't want to lose circulation to the rest of your body, so make sure you're able to move your fingers, nothing's turning blue.
Okay.
And then just elevate.
And then the E was elevate, and you said above the
Above heart
heart.
level,
So if
yeah.
you're sitting down inside, you might want to
Get
put
you
a
a pillow
pillow.
and just keep it elevated, whatever extremity it is.
Right, whether it's your leg or your arm or whatever. So yeah, make sure you have an ACE bandage at home. Very good.
Yep, it's good to have on hand.
Anything else that you parents should have on hand for first aid? What other products do you recommend here?
Obviously, Band-Aids.
Okay, yeah, so just
I like
Band-Aids.
Yep, I like these butterfly closures. If we have cuts that don't think we need stitches for them, you can use these, and it just keeps the skin together so
Cool.
you don't have a big scar.
Okay, what else should we have at
leftover.
home?
Antibiotic ointment is good.
Okay,
Um,
for cuts.
For cuts and bruises, you obviously clean the area, dry it, and then you can do your antibiotic ointment. Aloe Vera.
Yeah.
This is nice. Even if you don't have the live plant to do for burns and stuff, you can get, over the counter bottles of it. I like to keep it in the refrigerator because it's nice and cold when you put it on your sunburns.
Cool, yeah.
So that's obviously really nice to have. You got your peroxide and your alcohol. I like to have all that on hand too.
Good. So a first aid kit's a must for parents to have at home. And
Yeah,
these are some of the
yeah.
things that they should have in it.
Especially this time of year, have your sunscreen.
Oh, yeah,
your
definitely.
Aloe, and Band-Aids, obviously.
Band-Aids.
Kids like to be adventurous over the summer.
Okay. Well, boys and girls, we've learned a lot about first aid today. We've learned about different burns and little cuts and scrapes and what to have in a first aid kit. And then also we've talked a little bit about nosebleeds. So, Miss Carrie, I thank you so much for telling us a little bit about first aid. And boys and girls, I sure hope that you have fun time this summer. And if you run into any of these problems, make sure Mom and Dad can help you out with the first aid. So, that's about it today. I'm Miss Lisa, and for the Fayette County Public Library, and this has been Science Isn't Scary, Out and About.